In the 1990s, we lived in a town quite far from the Canadian province of Quebec. The closest house to our house belonged to our neighbors who lived 3 kilometers away. At the time, I was 6 years old and my siblings were 4 and 2 years old. One cold winter night, we were asleep, cuddled together, when we were awakened by voices coming from downstairs. It was the voice of a strange man, and he seemed to be talking to himself in a language we could not understand. My father told us to keep quiet and went downstairs with his rifle. As the footsteps creaked up the stairs, my breathing quickened, and I prayed that the person downstairs, most likely a thief, would not hurt my father. After half an hour, my father returned, his face white. When we asked him what had happened, he dismissed it as just a mouse, but I knew he was lying. The next day, my mother couldn't stand my insistence and told me what had happened. When my father came downstairs, there was a man pacing madly in the middle of the living room. He was pacing rapidly and talking to himself. When my father asked him if he was all right, the man suddenly stopped and turned his head towards him. Not knowing what to do in the face of what he saw, my father immediately went back and turned on the lights. But when he returned to the living room, there was no one there. Shocked by the faceless man he had seen seconds before, he said it's just a mouse and told my mother what had happened. Soon after my mother told this story, one of our neighbors came and they started chatting together, and I became more and more frightened by what I heard. Because the woman asked my mother if we knew about the accident that had happened the night before, and she told her that a young man had crashed on the road and died tragically because of a tree branch stuck in his head. As the woman continued to talk excitedly, all my mother and I could think about was the brazen man who came to our house last night.